Hong Kong dollars, which is the equivalent to 256,000 US dollars. First place is 2.5 million USD. The average stack is 33 big blinds, so not that deep. So a lot of pressure should be happening.
I think among all the Germans, Sontheimer is the most German.
The most German. Possibly? I have no idea.
He just seems very, very German.
Well, he'd be competing with Manig, right? Malig Lozer, is he?
Yeah, just from looking at Lozier, I think he could be something other than German.
He could be. I don't actually know. We're gonna go find out for you. So just to clarify, John Juanda won the Triton Series main event in Macau. That was in 2017. Other champions include Jungle Man, Wai Kin Yong, Fedor Holtz. Ivan Leo, Ace-10 offsuit. He's going to open this pot up. The blinds are 30,000, 60,000. So again, the blinds have moved up. It's 1 hour blind levels.
Jet and Jack-8 suited. There's definitely a hand he would have played if folded to him, but facing the raise from Ivan Leo lets it go.
Badziakowski with pocket kings in a big blind. He's gonna re-raise, hoping Ivan makes a mistake. I'm guessing around 400,000 seems reasonable, out of position. So actually goes even bigger, 540,000. Can't confirm Manig Lozer is from Germany. Ivan Leo with Ace-10 offsuit here. It's not a good proposition. Unsuited, it's a re-raise pot. Usually when your opponent's re-raise, it's Ace-Jack, Ace-Queen, Ace-King, pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks. In order for him to make this call pre-flop, he needs to think that Badziakowski is trying to make a play at him. So he is just going to fold, and correctly so. So Makita, that's 43 big blinds, 2.6 million chips. It's third of 8 players.
Sporting his scarf again.
How many players are wearing scarves at this table? I'm not too sure.
Is O'Dwyer wearing a scarf again today?
He was wearing one the other day. Not today. Maybe.
Past 2 days he's been wearing scarves.
Yeah, maybe that's why he's a tournament short stack right now.
No more chilling.
Someone might want to go over and tell him.
I hope your hand qualified. I'll look it up.
That's definitely a no. That laugh was definitely a no.
Oops.
My man, Kamita wearing nice dress shirt today, looking sharp.
Machine told me that I have to.
Yeah. A bit 5% of the time.
Yeah.
He's still my pick to win this thing. As long as he keeps picking up pocket kings, it's looking good for him.
Wai Leong Chan with King Jack suited. He's going to open this pot up. Every time he's made a play at it, a pot, it's worked out for him. Very good at grinding his stack.
Yeah, we've seen Wai Leong Chan in both this tournament and the previous No Limit Hold'em event just really good at grinding short stacks. He's now cashed in both the no-limit hold'em tournaments of this series.
O'Dwyer of ace-jack. He's got a shove. He's only got 10 big blinds. I don't know what better spot you're going to get than this. Your opponent has king-jack. Likely just timing down the shot clock just to shove soon. Use the short stack. No room for waiting anymore.
605.
Now Chan here with king-jack suited. Well, actually Sontheimer has king-queen of diamonds. A tricky spot. Opponent shoves for 10 big blinds.
I think with O'Dwyer,
he's going to lay it down.
Shoving all in there with ICM, I think Sontheimer can easily fold the king-queen. But Chan, I think, is, if I were Chan here, I'd be calling with the king-jack of spades. You're just getting such a good price.
The price here is 8 more big blinds. The price is definitely a call, but against the hand he's up against, he's in trouble. He is going to make the call.
Yeah, he required 34% equity to make that call.
Yeah, so he actually has only 28%, but he doesn't know that he's dominated in the spot. So Dwyer needs to dodge a king in order to stay in this tournament. And he does so far. 2 more cards to come.
Safe flop for O'Dwyer.
Turns an 8. Doesn't change anything. 3 kings remaining. 7% chance to eliminate O'Dwyer. And the river's an 8. So O'Dwyer's going to double up to about 1.2 million. They're going to almost swap stacks right now. Chan is going to be the tournament short stack with 13.5 big blinds. So Dwyer chips up there, the best hand.
I have a bowl of chocolate over there. Someone wants it.
2.5 million.
Oh wait, is O'Dwyer
USD
wearing
for
a scarf?
first.
O'Dwyer might be wearing a scarf.
Under the hoodie?
Yeah, look at that.
Might be. It's a different look though.
Yeah, he has a different scarf for every day.
What are they passing around? Is that fruit or chocolate?
I thought I heard Makita talk about chocolate.
Well, he didn't offer me any chocolate. So we are live with a 30-minute delay right now. Ace King for Wai Leong Chan. He's only got 13 big blinds roughly. It's pretty standard all in from first position. Hoping for someone to pick up a hand like Ace Queen. They would never fold to this shove.
Can I get a count, please?
Badziakowski has Ace King as well. So unless someone hits a flush, this will be a chop pot. Yeah, all suits are in play. So Badziakowski, he's going to shove all in here himself.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's a little bit better for him to just call. Doesn't effectively matter, but in general, in spots like this, if he happened to be deeper against the blinds.
I think I like shoving. The reason is I can kick out some tight folds from like Sontheimer. Maybe Sontheimer's got like pocket nines. You want him to fold this hand, right? But maybe Sontheimer sees a call and is like, well, maybe Badziakowski will fold if I shove. And now you got to play this 3-way all in when your opponent has Ace King as well. So a lot of reason to consider trying to push your opponent out of the pot. So
Well, he does go all in.
I think there's much more merit to slow playing a hand like pocket aces.
Fair enough.
And they're going to chop it up. There's a 2% chance that one of these players will hit a flush to scoop this pot. As you can see, the equities on the lower third of the screen.
You definitely need some sweat on the flop. At least 2 suits. Ooh.
2 clubs.
Some sweat on the turn? I mean, that's the best way to split, like after there is some sweat. No.
Ace on the turn. How lucky are you guys?
So this pot's gonna be chopped up.
Nice hand.
Jack 7, lose.
3 clubs, 3 heart.
Chan's gonna chip up to 900,000. Gets a
Yeah, but it's straight.
1 big blind and 1 ante there.
Yeah, he was hoping for a little bit more with his ace-king, especially when he saw 2 clubs on the flop.
Boring.
It's up with 3. Kings out. Throwing that on turn.
Queens are kind of good. Making it, I mean, not on this board, but like when you're facing a boss players, ace kings.
Yes, what's the risk thing?
Ivan Leo, Queen 10 under the gun. We may have seen him open up that hand earlier in the tournament.
Easy decision.
Sontheimer on the dealer button. I like this play, just being aggressive against the middling stacks. Usually you'll just take down the blinds, so you get better hands to fold like ace 4. Chan's not going to defend jack 4 offsuit, so when you're the table chip leader, you should be raising the button very, very wide. People are just not going to reshove into you without a reasonable hand because he can eliminate you. It's got you covered. But on the flip side, you should be shoving on him because he's raising so wide. So kind of the tricky part of the game. We're on social media at Triton Poker. Hashtag Triton SHR. If you like what you've seen, have some requests, tweet at them. They've been listening. That's how you guys got that big cash game.
Double. Or
Peter Jetton with pocket eights. Nothing has been really going his way at this final table so far. He's going to open this pot with just under 20 big blinds.
Price 120. Oh.
Ivan here, ace 10 suited in the big blind. If he makes an all-in play, this would be a tough spot for Jetton. He might just call though. He seems like he wants to shove all in.
Right.
He's gonna raise. Wow, this is a tough spot for Jetton. Jetton raises from undergun, the perceived strongest position. And the big blind, who's supposed to call from the big blind a lot, 3-bets you. This looks like massive strength to me, but it's actually not.
Yeah, I'd expect Jetton to read it as strength and let this hand go.
I mean, Jetton's been losing every single pot. Is he gonna fold this hand? Pocket eights? If he could see Leo's cards right now, he'd be making a mistake, but he's actually a 53% favorite. He doesn't know he's up against ace 10 suited. if he shoves and he's up against an overpair, he's in very bad shape. And he's going to fold the pocket 8, so Ivan puts the pressure on Jetton. Takes that pot down.
Yeah, not a standard 3-bet there, and one of the things you're worried about is when you 3-bet that hand and get shoved on, you gotta fold, right? I mean, you gotta fold, and then you're blowing off your equity. So
very tricky situation. I think, you know, the play worked out very well. He got a better hand to fold, you know, and he didn't even need to try and flop a pair or a flush draw because sometimes he just doesn't even get to see the turn in river. Very well played by Ivan. He's in 4th place right now. He's not shy to put in some chips, even though he's got this middling stack where some players actually might usually will just take a flop there. Like, try not to risk your whole stack. Peter Jetton's in 7th place, 17 big blinds.
yeah, I'm not even sure if after 3-betting Ivan, he may have been priced into call. I don't know. It would have been interesting if Jetton had shoved there.
I think maybe from a chip equity, it'd probably be a call, but I don't know if he'd want to make it at the final table. Hard to say, but good thing he doesn't have to face that. Rui Cal, 5 deuce suited. Okay, we've got 25 big blinds. I think this seems like a standard open for me in the cutoff, so he is going to raise. As long as his opponents behind him don't play too aggressively, this becomes a little bit more okay. Now, if Chan shoves ace deuce offsuit for 13 big blinds, then Rui Cal's raise isn't going to be very good at all.
Yeah, that would have been a great read there by Chan, especially with the opening ranges of Rui, but it's really tough there with 13 big blinds. You probably just want to be able to open shove yourself.
So Ivan here, 7-6, going to let it go, and Peter Jetton, 8-9 of diamonds.
Imagine we'll see him take a flop.
It's got just shy of 1 million chips. Most likely going to take a flop. So he is going to do that.
Peter Jetton, a longtime poker pro, up against Rui Cal.
Now Rui Cal has the worst hand, but he's got the initiative, so he can move Jetton off a lot of flops. This is not going to be one of them. King 9-6 flush draw.
And it's a tough spot for Jetton still, though, because he only has about 2.5 pot-sized bets remaining. There's some ICM, so Rui Cal could really put some pressure on Jetton here.
So with the small bet of 100,000, I expect Jetton to check call. But maybe Rui Cal can interpret this check call as not that strong of a hand. A lot of people would probably just consider check raising all in with like a flush draw, or like say he's got like king jack. Some people with this stack size would check raise all in, some people would check call. So maybe Rui Cal can consider multi-barreling, thinking that his opponent usually has a 9 or 6. Actually shoves all in with mid pair.
That's interesting.
Just saying, he's thinking he's got the best hand. He doesn't want to get blown off of it. Rui Cal quickly folds.
Yeah, I expected a check call also.
Rui Cal chips down. I think Jetton chips up possibly to 6th place. He did pick up a pot here. A much needed one. Rui Cal being one of the more aggressive players, despite being one of the shorter stacks. Rui Cal is actually in 7th place now, 21 big blinds. Wai Long Chan's the short stack. Table chip leader, Stefan Sontheimer, 59 big blinds. Manig Loser, the other German player, 44 big blinds. Makita's in 3rd. Ivan's in 4th. Peter Jetton, 23rd, the Canadian. Steve O'Dwyer, right above the short stacks. Still 8 players remaining. 2 million Hong Kong, which is 250,000 US dollars roughly, maybe 260,000. Winner's gonna get 2.5 million USD. So Sontheimer hasn't been overly aggressive, so I think this King 9 is pretty good. He's got the table chip lead. Opponents are going to respect him, especially because he hasn't been raising every single hand like some chip leaders might do. So just going to take down some Lines and antes. Sontheimer, one of the best tournament players lately. He's been doing very well. Very good cash game player. Currently the table chip leader. Fedor Holt says he's one of the best players in the game.
Same.
His nickname's the Goose. I don't know why he's called the Goose, but it must be related to his screen name. Over to Steve O'Dwyer. 1.2 million chips. Does he come along for a call? Does he raise? Does he fold? I think he's gonna call. I think he knows that Menig thinks that he will limp shove a reasonable amount so he can get some free flops with a hand like 9-4 clubs. Actually, he's raising.
Wow.
200,000. This does actually look pretty strong because he's not the tournament short stack right now.
Yeah, what do you think we're going to see Lozier do here with Queen 8?
Queen 8, wow, I'm not really sure.
It's a close spot
you do
between
have
folding and calling.
From a chip perspective, you have the best hand in a reasonable amount of time. You got position. You're closing the action. He is going to make the call. You know, just kind of see what happens on the flop.
Yeah, I think calling is certainly standard, but if you perceive that O'Dwyer is going to be playing tighter out of the small blind, you may want to fold a hand like Queen 8. Lozier correctly reading that O'Dwyer may be weak here, but O'Dwyer flopping a flush draw and Lozier with top pair.
Top pair, medium kicker. I don't think Lozier is actually excited to get all his chips in here, so likely what would happen is O'Dwyer will bet and Lozier will call.
Do you think we might see O'Dwyer go for a check shove with these stack sizes here?
Very, very possible. He is checking. That actually will put Lozier in a very, very tough spot.
I think if Lozier bets here and O'Dwyer shoves, Lozier's going to have to call.
Given the stack size of 1.1 million chips remaining, he won't love it. But maybe he decides to check and just play a turn. Usually, I expect my opponents, when they check this flop, don't have my Queen 8 beat. It's kind of a, drawy board. 175,000. I wouldn't mind O'Dwyer actually check shoving here. Lozier could easily bet a hand like a 6 or a 7 or some air, and we faced with a tough spot given that there's a queen that overcards a 7 or a 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting to see here from Steve O'Dwyer.
Like, if you're Lozier here 7-8, what would you do if he shoved? So this is shove all in, and Lozier's going to get a count. He's not excited about it. He's probably going to decide that there's enough flush draws and straight draws out there that he should be making the call.
If you heard him, what he said is, I'm not folding, but can I get a count, please?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's not randomly like another million somewhere. So Lozier here. Queen 8. He's a 67% favorite right now. If he calls, he can bust O'Dwyer out of this tournament. Very strong no-limit player. He makes the call. Queen 8.
Does make the call. He is a 2-1 favorite against O'Dwyer's flush draw.
33% chance. He's looking for a club. And then he needs to dodge another club. So O'Dwyer not in great shape right now. Comes a turn card. Turns a 9. Gives O'Dwyer even more outs. He's got 29%. He can hit a 9 or a 4 now. River's a club. And O'Dwyer's going to double up here. 2.6 million chips. Lozier loses 1.2 million.
Steve O'Dwyer continuing to run well here at Triton.
I mean, I think given that he raised pre-flop, it seems pretty standard. If he had limp pre-flop, this hand could be very different. Right? I don't think it would go check shove because the stack to pot ratio would be practically doubled.
All of a sudden, Steve O'Dwyer from being the short stack at this table, or second shortest in chips, now all of a sudden is second in chips. Second only behind Sontheimer. Sontheimer's fellow German Loescher down to 5th place in chips here.
Just like that, you're above average. Trophy in your sights. Club on the river will be long forgotten 8 hours from now.
Some people still remember the 9 on the turn.
So Ivan with 10-9 offsuit in the hijack, looking to play this pot. It's gonna raise. $135,000. So Bodziakowski calls with 9-5 offsuit. As long as Ivan bets his flop, he's gonna win this pot. So Ivan's gonna bet 150,000. Bodziakowski folds.
Always counting 7. Always. Oh, what was I had? 7s.
You had 7s. Which hand?
What did you guys have?
I had a pocket pair.
You can tell me. I don't want to stand up and. All right.
I had ace-8. Which hand?
Ace 8.
Got me.
Where I river to set and like we check through two streets and then I bet to river, and both of them tank for a while.
So actions on Chan of ace-9 offsuit. He's got
Usually
about
it's just
12
always,
big
seven
blinds.
on the river and Poker Stars.
He's gonna fold.
Poker Stars live events.
Surprised we didn't see Chan shove there.
Okay, I've never figured that out, so it's good to know.
It would
Only on German.
be a
Was it the
close
German guy
spot.
that won in Barcelona?
I,
Yes.
He was playing in,
it's
seven?
pretty marginal,
This
I
time
think.
it all started.
Okay, makes sense.
This time, he's
I think at a final table, it's
guy in the end.
probably a fold. I mean, it's correct fold given what the hands Loser's woken up
This
with
is
on the
kind of
button.
experience I'm
if you wanna be
lacking
results
compared to you
oriented.
guys.
But I do think it's a close
Even when
spot.
it's like ace king against queens, you have to ask for the 7.
It's probably like
fold
ace
seven,
10,
and it
right?
works out.
Yeah, ace-10 with 12 big blinds, ace-9 with 11 big blinds from that
How
position.
do you think Fedor won all that stuff?
So, especially with ICM,
There's
good fold.
some special strategy to it.
So Loser here on
All
the
that
dealer
stuff,
button.
We want to know.
Double checking those cards.
I mean, I'm not sure about
Open this
Steve's
pot.
abilities with that this year. I mean,
Makes
there
it
is something special to it as
150,000.
well. He's more
Wadzia
meditating
with pocket sevens. He's up against an opponent who has 22 big blinds, raising on the dealer button. Does he just 3-bet this hand and try to get it in?
I
using the fold
imagine
equity?
we're going to see Badziakowski 3-bet and call and all, call and all in here. I think
Ideally,
just
he won't.
attacking the pot pre-flop, that's a big advantage of that, is just attacking, hoping to take it down pre-flop. You have a strong enough hand that when your opponent shoves, you're not in terrible shape, but of course you'd prefer to see a fold.
So he is going to re-raise, and the good part is you kick out the big blind, because pocket sevens plays better as a heads-up pot. So he makes it 500,000. Loser's going to pretty much snap shove. Like, he'll use his 30 seconds at most. Shove all in here. So he's going to go all in. Badziakowski is going to call.
1-3-25.
I think that she should burn it.
He makes the call.
There's the call. That's the hand that Badziakowski did want to see once his opponent shoved, and we got a classic coin flip situation. Menig Lozier with his tournament life at risk. He's going to need an ace, a king, or maybe some clubs.
Everyone's rooting for 7. Think it's always coming. Queen 5-4.
7 of clubs. 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs, fair enough.
Turn is a 3 of clubs. Loser has 41%. He gets a deuce, an ace,
Yeah, that
king,
turn
a
actually
club.
helped Lozier.
Here comes the river cards, an 8. And Loser has been eliminated from the tournament. He was doing very well in 2 big pots, and he's gone.
Menig Lozier eliminated in 8th place at the hands of Mikita Badziakowski. The guy I picked to win this tournament is now chip leader at the final table.
Well, he places 8th place, wins $2,015,000 Hong Kong dollars. He's going to win 256,000 USD. You know, he won this tournament last year in Montenegro. So back-to-back cashes in the main event. That's 127,000 US dollar buy-in. I would say that's a good result. It's going to be a bit disappointing, but when you look back on it, you know, he played well. He didn't win the key coin flip when he needed to.
Manning, unfortunately, no back-to-back.
Yeah, I would have loved to win again, but yeah, it was a fun day still. And yeah, happy to make it to the final table anyways.
So you want to tell me about the tournament? Did you enjoy yourself? How was it? Are you happy with the way you played?
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed myself. It's a really nice location here. I always like the Triton series, and yeah, I'm pretty happy with how I played. Wasn't too lucky in the second last hand, but besides that, ran really well, so it's all good.
Are we going to see you jump in the 4 p.m. short deck?
That's unlikely. I have no idea how to play it, so yeah.
So maybe this will be a good time for us to start some maybe sit-and-goes for you guys to learn?
I'd be up for that, yeah. That sounds good.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Back to you, Randy.
So Menig Lozier, the 8th place finisher, doesn't know how to play a short deck. I wouldn't be surprised he tries and learn, because if he's going to go to all these Triton Series tournaments, well, some more tournaments to try to win some titles.
It's true. Menig seems like he's in pretty high spirits despite having just busted the tournament.
That
That's
was
good
like
news.
the happiest bust out interview I've seen, and for someone who got 8th place. But you know, it's good to just, you know, I think he played great today at this final table, and he seems to think so. And it's just like some people are quite disappointed when they bust a tournament, and they're like, what can I have done differently? But he actually seemed pretty confident that he made the best decision throughout this final table.
1.2.
Sontheimer is not going to fold too many hands in his small blind versus Rui's big blind in the spot, but I imagine that this is one of the ones he is going to fold. But
He's actually going to just raise and just try to steal the big blind.
so that means that he's probably, it's safe to say he's playing 100% VPIP out of the small blind here in this spot.
Well, he is facing Rui Cao, who only has 19 big blinds. He really can't defend too wide here. 10-6 offsuit, a pretty bad hand.
Yeah, but Rui Cao, thinking about it, he must know that Sontheimer is raising a lot of hands there, and he does let it go.
I like the raise from Sondheimer because the player in the big blind next is going to be Leong Chan, and he's only got about 12 big blinds
Especially with
left.
the shot clock, it's
So that puts
3
maximum
sets
pressure on
ahead of all
Rui
the
Cao,
chips.
who's very aware of ICM.
Absolutely makes sense. Taking some of the yellow chips out of play. Badziakowski adding some 25K blue chips to his stack here.
So again, the yellows are 5,000. The blue is 25,000. A 20 stack, so one stack of yellow is 100K, and one stack of blue is 500,000. The red chips behind are 1 minute time bank chips. You get 30 seconds to act on every action, but if you use a time bank chip, you get a full minute.
Have we seen any of those used yet at this final table?
I believe so. It looks like Jen only has 2 remaining. Unless I...
Looks like 3 to me.
Is that 3 or is that 2? I don't...
You might be right.
It's tough because O'Dwyer also looks like he might have 2. No,
O'Dwyer
that's
has
3.
Yeah.
Well, O'Dwyer has pocket aces. He's going to make the raise.
And I'm really glad they changed out the time bank chips. The chips that they had yesterday look so much like the red
1,000
1K chips, and it caused a little bit of confusion for Bryn Kenny in a pot against Andrew Robles. So,
well, the good thing about the Triton series, they seem to take player feedback very well. So that was actually instantly changed the next day for the time bank chips. Now Leong Chan of 8-6 offsuit in the big blind.
this is a hand you normally want to defend to a min raise, but with the ICM pressure here at the final table, I think we'll see Chan fold.
He is the literal short stack right now. He is going to make the fold. So Dwyer,
Much to the chagrin of O'Dwyer there, getting a fold. You have pocket aces, you're just saying, come on, I want a little bit of action here.
yeah, you're screaming for a short stack to call you from the big blind, because usually when the short stack flops a piece, they just check raise all in. And he'd be in great shape against that. He's third place right now, 2.7 million chips. Even though he's in third place, he's doing really well. In a good position to chip up. Well, Dwyer, a very aggressive player. If you give O'Dwyer the chip lead, he will put pressure on you like all day.
It's expensive big one, huh?
So they are going to be playing a $1 million Hong Kong dollars short deck event shortly on the side. They predict that tournament's going to be very big. You know, there's some short deck specialists in there. The opening event was a short deck 250,000 Hong Kong dollar buy-in. Phil Ivey defeated Jungle Man. Heads up to take that title for about 600,000 US dollars. In the second event, Richard Yong defeated Steve O'Dwyer in a 250K 6-max no-limit hold'em event for about $388,000. This is the third event, the $1 million Hong Kong main event. They're playing for 2.5 million USD on top. Total of 63 entries. Ivan Leo in the big blind of ace-7 offsuit against Rui Cao. Rui Cao only is playing 1 million chips. He's deciding if he should re-raise all in or just call here. Both options seem okay against Rui Cao, who's on the dealer button. So he's going to make the call.
A lot of people may choose to limp Rui Cao's hand with this stack on the button. Rui Cao, though, undeterred by his stack, raising it
It
up.
doesn't seem like that's in Rui Cao's range strategy right now, because he's been raising a lot of hands.
What a flop for Rui.
So Rui's flop, up and down straight draw. 49% chance to scoop this pot.
I'm very confused by Rui Cao's shirt.
Yeah, it feels like he just found some black tape and just stuck them on everywhere.
Am I looking at a shirt or an Escher painting?
So So Rui's going to bet, and Ivan of ace-7 high. It's going to lay this one down. Actions on Steve O'Dwyer, 2.7 million chips. It's going to fold that hand. Sontheimer of pocket fours.
We haven't seen Sontheimer get too out of line at this final table as a big stack. We did, though, see him put some pressure directly on Rui Cow, small blind versus big blind. Now he's raising up the pocket fours.
Jenton with queen 7 diamonds, likely to see a flop. He's playing about 20 big blinds, a suited queen. So he's going to make the call. So Jenton just has queen high. Probably just going to check fold to a bet. Sontheimer's hand is pretty vulnerable, so he is going to fire a little bet. Trying to fold out anything that didn't connect. 90,000. And his hand's over pretty quickly.
Give me 2 million as well.
Alright guys, this chip 100,000.
3, 4.
And we're going to be introducing some new chips to the game here. The 100,000 light pink chips are coming into play.
I take some as well, please.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't look like a very intimidating color, but it is. 100,000 denomination chips there.
Well, I'm just happy to see that the chips look very different than the other colors. Some places have some denominations that look so similar. You're like, what chip is that? So happy to see that. So Bodziakowski of 7-8 of hearts using the new chips. Sontheimer of ace queen. They're actually very evenish in stacks right now, so I think Sontheimer is just going to call. There's a lot of short stacks behind you that will shove. You don't want to play an 8 million chip pot on the final table. What some players would call an ICM suicide. But calling is pretty much the safest play, and he's going to make that.
5. Okay.
Over to Old Dwyer in the big blind with 9-5 of clubs. I would imagine he's going to throw in one chip. 70,000 to win 420 in the pot. Getting very good odds. But he's actually going to lay it down.
Wow.
A little bit surprised, given that he's actually pretty deep
All the same thing.
and unlikely to really lose too many chips unless he gets really coolered.
Interesting spot here for Baziakowski. Raised under the gun, flops bottom pair. This is a board that should favor his range over his opponent's at the very top of the range. I'm interested to see what he'll do here.
So he bets 140,000, bottom pair. He can get some better hands to fold, like pocket 9s and 10s might fold to this bet. Sondheimer actually has top pair, top kicker, so he's going to make the call. It's a very dry board, so generally speaking, people don't raise on these boards because they find that they're just getting all the bluffs to fold.
Do you think when Mikita bets this flop, he's planning on betting multiple barrels?
I actually don't think he's going to bet this turn. I think he put Sondheimer to call his flop bet from these positions. He's going to actually have ace queen and ace jack a lot, and probably like king queen and king jack. Occasionally it's like queen jack and jack 10 suited.
But Mikita knows he can basically turn every hand in Sondheimer's range
Well, he
to
is
a
actually
bluff
gonna
catcher
bet
on the river.
400,000.
Now that's assuming that Sondheimer would 3-bet ace-king preflop, which I actually am not sure that he would with how deep
Correct.
these two players are.
So Baziakowski has the perceived stronger range. Sondheimer knows that, so he's not going to lay down ace-queen on this turn card. So Baziakowski actually in a tricky spot on the river. I actually don't think it'll get through. River's a 5. I think Sondheimer is very aware that this is the top of his range that isn't a nutted hand like 2 pair. Baziakowski, when you bet this flop and you bet this turn, are you going to fire this river? I think he expects king, queen, king, jack, and those gut shots to have already folded the turn. So he needs to put his opponent on ace, queen, and ace, jack a lot, right? And I don't think he expects his opponent to fold ace, queen, or ace, jack too often. He would need to bet a lot, so he checks. Sondheimer on the river likely thinks he's got the best hand, but he's going to take the free showdown. So Sondheimer's going to win 820,000 chips there.
Surprised we didn't see Sondheimer bet that river.
Yeah, I think he just thinks that he's not going to get called too often. I do think he's got the best hand most of the time, because usually if a player has a hand better than ace-queen, if they bet the flop and turn on this texture, they would just keep betting on the river.
Yeah.
Like if you were looking to slow play aces and kings, you would have checked the flop, or you would have checked the turn. Not bet flop, turn, check river, because there was no flush draw on the flop. So I'm a little bit surprised he didn't think about betting at least.
No, I have
But, I mean-
chip leader. I flat all my ace kings here. Everything
So maybe
super nice and smooth.
when you're playing against another big stack, you know, you just kind of want to show down your hands a little bit more. But I do think there's merit to betting. I think Mikita actually has ace, queen, and ace, jack a decent amount as well.
First bigger pot I winning.
Rui, cow, ace 10 offsuit, 21.5 big blinds is going to open this pot.
Yep. Secret crux.
Baziakowski of ace 3 offsuit is calling 70,000 to win it, 290,000 in the pot. Dude, it's in great shape with the odds, but he's behind pre-flop right now.
Yeah, Gabe was telling me he got some Twitter mentions about that.
Queen 5-4 flush draw. So Rui is the pre-flop aggressor, and he's been continuation betting a lot of boards lately. So he's gonna bet.
Hopefully we just get more Gabe commentary. Montenegro. Full.
525.
No, it's not.
125.
125.
What yeah, the dude.
Check.
So it's 1.4 million chips in this pot. Bodziakowski just has ace high right now. Queen 5-4, 10-8.
Last 10 seconds. Check.
Bodziakowski checks. I imagine Rui Cal's going to check back this pair of tens. Has a ton of showdown value.
No, sir. Not Rui. Very small bet here. A little bit less than 1/5 the size of the pot.
Pass. Yeah.
The French one.
Rui Cal hanging around at this final table, adding to his chip stack. This is the final table of the 1 million Hong Kong dollar buy-in main event. These players are competing for just about 20,000 Hong Kong dollars, and as you can see, Sontheimer is still the chip leader. He has almost twice as many chips as the player in second place, Stephen O'Dwyer.
Leong Chan's only got 10 big blinds right now, but he's laddered up 2 places. I feel like he's been a short stack the whole tournament. Has cruised into the money.
I feel like he's been a short stack the whole series.
The whole series.
Every event.
But if you're going to make the money every tournament, I don't really care if I'm the short stack.
Yeah, he's comfortable with that short stack. As you can see, first place just shy of 20 million Hong Kong dollars. Every single player at this table has locked up 2.3 million Hong Kong dollars. The next prize jump about 500,000 Hong Kong dollars.
Right.
Just to put in perspective, first prize in this tournament is about 2.45 million US dollars. And here comes Wai Leong Chan, raising over, all in over the raise of Rui Cal with King Queen.
And
Rui Cal's not going to be able to fold for this price.
It just snap calls. Had a similar spot where Wai Leong Chan doubled up O'Dwyer, King Jack suited to Ace Jack. So caller is behind again. It's only like 9.5 big blinds. You just gotta call and hope you get there.
Not the hand that Rui Cal wanted to see. He's about a 3-to-1 dog here.
Hello, bro.
10 on a flop is bad for Wai Leong Chan. He needs to hit a queen now.
Yeah, that is the flop that Rui wanted to see.
Turns to 9, so he picks up more outs. He can hit a 7, a jack, or a queen. A 7, and they're going to chop it up.
You learning, Peter?
I'm learning. And you can't get greedy. Ask for half the pot.
So Wai Leong Chan survives elimination for river straight on the board.
No climbing the ladder. No.
All the other short stacks rooting for Wai Leong Chan to bust so they can get that additional payout.
Yeah, nobody at the table wanted that 7 on the river other than Chan.
But that seems greedier to me.
Chan now in a spot where he could just play his short stack pretty much based on the best play for chip EV. There aren't any other stacks who are as short stack as Chan.
7 always.
So the difference between 8th, well, there's 7 players remaining now? Is that right?
7 players remaining.
7 players. So 7th place is going to get 294,000. If they can hang on until 6th place, they will get an additional 70,000 roughly in USD.
About a difference of $500,000 Hong Kong dollars. To put it in perspective, that's half the buy-in to this event.
Wai Leong Chan with Queen 9 suited under gun, 11 big blinds. He's thinking about it because he is going to be the big blind next hand.
He's going to fold here. Wow.
He's going to shove all in.
He moves all in?
Trying to take on the blinds and antes.
This is an aggressive shove here by Chan.
I assume he's thinking about, well, I'm going to pay the big blind next. Probably going to fold there. Going to fold my small blind, and then I'm down to about 9 big blinds. So probably widen his shoving range just slightly.
Well, this is actually, according to Nash ranges, a plus chip EV shove here. Queen 9, the bottom of your shoving range there with if you have 11 bigs.
So, you know, I mean, this guy's a professional. He does know his ranges very well. Nice play.
I immediately called bullshit, but I guess it did. What are your current lucky trinkets then?
You can actually profitably shove Queen 9 there, 7-handed, up until 16 big blinds.
Now the carry-on suitcase handle is a lucky trinket?
So Ivan Leo is going to be our first player in this pot.
That's true.
Sontheimer, 4-3 suited on the button. He's the table chip leader right now. We'll love to see him raise it. He's been raising very wide against these 2 blinds specifically. He's actually going to shove all in here, 4 high. One of the worst hands in the game. Gets Rui Cow to fold. Seems like a lot. Rui Cow actually has 2 million chips, and he takes down his pot with just 4-3 high.
How many big blinds deep effective was he with Rui?
About 35.
35 big blinds deep effective.
From the graphic I saw, yes.
It's a very aggressive shove there. Really shows you the importance of putting ICM pressure on your opponents at these final tables. Sontheimer, one of the best tournament players. He probably knows a decent amount about final table ICM.
I was lucky. And he replies, "Oh my God, you're Stephen." He's like, "Oh yeah, they're lucky." what? They definitely basket of lucky eyes.
Back over to Sontheimer in the cutoff.
Always when you are in the blind.
He's not going to shove that one.
Run number 4.
Oh, even better.
1-3. What?
A few days ago, Elizabeth and I were walking home. Let's see this. We walked by.
You scare him off. You look too dangerous.
I just noticed out of the corner of my eye, like she's at a table with a little sign in front of her. She's selling something. I wasn't paying attention.
Every time I see O'Dwyer's stack, I think he's short, but he actually puts his like big chips like really far from him. See those chips over on his left?
Yeah.
They're like it looks like someone else could claim them. The blinds are gonna be 40,000, 80,000 with a 10,000 ante.
They're lucky. She's like, yeah. I was like, alright, which one's lucky?
28 big blind average. Wine Long Chan with 9 big blinds. Peter Jen has 13 big blinds. Rui Cao now has 25 big blinds. Chip Leader's got 60 big blinds. Stefan Sontheimer has got a reasonable lead on Steve O'Dwyer right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The way we've seen Sontheimer play is he hasn't necessarily opened up his early and middle position opening ranges as much as you'd see a lot of big stacks at the final table, but in later position, we've really seen him apply ICM pressure to small stacks. We saw him earlier shove on Rui Cao with just the deuce 3 offsuit. Then a couple hands ago, we saw him move all in on the button with 2 players left to act with 3-4 suited.
Peter Jetten with a6 offsuit. He's got about 12 big blinds. Oh, actually, Ivan with king 3 offsuit. 12 big blinds effective.
Yeah, I were Ivan, I'd be moving all in here.
I think all in seems like the standard play, given that there's a guy with only like 8 big blinds left. So he does raise. He does know that should work. Now, what do you do if you're jetting here? Do you think that Ivan's just trying to steal your blinds a lot and you should just shove? You are in second place with 12 to 13 big blinds right now. There's a player with about 7 to 8 big blinds remaining in the tournament.
If I were jetting, I think I'd just be calling here.
Just trying to play a flop, see if you flop okay. It's a tough spot.
You don't really expect Ivan Leo to raise to the size and then fold.
He does shove all in. So he does suspect he has the best hand. Ivan now, 800,000 more to him. Trying to decide if he's priced in the call with king 3 offsuit. Be very close.
Well, he requires 37.6% equity to make the call here. I can't imagine he's going to call with the king 3, and this is the reason why if I had the king 3 offsuit, I would choose simply to shove instead of raising.
Yeah, I think Ivan's going to fold too. His hand is so bad. You actually would rather have a hand like 10-9 suited, I feel like. King 3 is very rarely the best hand. So he's going to lay it down, and Peter Jen's going to chip up with a6 offsuit for a good amount of chips. 285,000 increases the stack by 28%. No showdown value. Gotta respect that play. He's in 6th place right now. So Sontheimer, king 9 of clubs. He's going to make a raise.
Price 160. Fold.
Action folds to Ivan Leo, king jack offsuit on the button. He's going to call. This is the final table, day 3. In case you missed out, Chidwick was the literal money bubble boy in this tournament. Bubbled both no limit events.
Thanks.
Sontheimer outflops Ivan Leo here.
So he's going to continuation bet 160,000. And that pot's over. So Steven Chidwick was the money bubble. Before him, it was Torbergson. And then before him, it was Isaac Haxton who busted. That was 10th, 11th, and 12th place. Just shy of the money.
And so far at this final table, the eliminations have been Dietrich Fast and then Lozier, taking 9th and 8th place respectively, and that leaves us with the final 7 players. Sontheimer has been performing very well at this final table. Picks up king 7 of spades under the gun. An aggressive open, but he is the big stack at this table. And here's Wai Long Chan, pocket kings, all in.
It's only got
a little bit over 8 big blinds here.
8.5 big blinds. Sontheimer is going to be pricing to make a call here.
Oh yeah, no way Sontheimer's folding for this price.
But he doesn't realize he would want to make the fold if he could see his hand. 11% chance to crack pocket kings.
Is there some shameful hand to show?
Shameful hand.
Yeah.
Where's ace queen? 7. 7.
You're going to need 2 sevens, Sontheimer. Flop is 2% chance for Sontheimer to win this pot, and it's over. So Wai Long Chan's going to double up to 1.53 million.
About 8 minutes. Go, agents. Short deck, I think. Featuring one minute by
We're getting late for a short deck tournament.
Not sure. I wanted to speed up things.
So really interesting about that last pot, even though Wai Long Chan only had 8.5 big blinds, Sontheimer was getting 2-to-1 on his money on the call, which means he needed 33%. But after I just did a quick range calculation, if Wai Long Chan had 7s plus, Ace-Jack suited plus, King-Queen suited plus, Ace-Jack offsuit plus, and King-Queen offsuit, then Sontheimer only had 32%, so it was probably a pretty close spot.
I mean, you can still win the pot, but I don't look that stupid.
I normally assume there's almost nothing you can fold when you open and your opponent shoves for 8 big blinds, but The math is a little more nuanced, especially if you're facing a pretty tight reshoving range.
Steve O'Dwyer here, Jack 8 of clubs. He's got about 30 big blinds on the dealer button.
That was fun.
Imagine he's going to raise.
Right. 330.
Look at this, Sontheimer attacking now with 7-5 suited, showing why he's one of the best tournament players here. We'll see what Steve O'Dwyer does.
I think Steve O'Dwyer is actually very suspicious here, so that's why he's not folding to Jack 8 of clubs.
Or with like 2.4, right?
He did limp the button. O'Dwyer outflops Sontheimer right now. Should see a bet and a call.
Yeah, from what we've seen from Sontheimer here, I'm expecting about a 35% pop bet.
Yep, that is what he does.
225.
I actually don't think Sontheimer is going to multi-barrel O'Dwyer here, because when O'Dwyer limp calls on the button and calls on this flop, he usually actually has an ace. Like an ace 10 type hand, ace 9, some flush draws, and those hands will fold.
He could also have some 8s. It's very unlikely O'Dwyer would limp the button with many 3s. He probably would choose, if he's going to enter the pot, with a 3x to raise.
So it turns a 9. It gives Sontheimer some equity.
Yeah, I think this is a good turn for Sontheimer to check here.
Yeah, I think he just needs to be a bit worried that O'Dwyer just won't fold to a turn bet. So he is thinking about it. So he does make the check. O'Dwyer here in a tricky spot. His opponent probably would check an ace here, so it's not really excited to bet the turn. But then again, there's a lot of bad cards.
Yeah, if you're O'Dwyer, you gotta check here.
So he does make the check, just trying to fade another heart. River's a queen. That's an awful card for this hand. More overcards to come. If Sontheimer bets this river, it'd be very tough for O'Dwyer to call with just a pair of 8s. I mean, these two have some history. I believe O'Dwyer has hero called down Sontheimer before and has been correct. So that might discourage Sontheimer from betting, but he is going to make the bet. He's going for a big bet. 750,000.
Wow. What a bet from Sontheimer here, and what he's thinking is that if O'Dwyer had an ace on the turn, he probably would have wanted to bet it to protect against another heart coming on the river.
Sontheimer's not worried about a flush. Most players would bet a flush on the turn, given the action. So it really does put O'Dwyer on like an 8. Most players would bet 8-9 on the turn, right? There's 3 hearts.
This is really great poker here. Just watching Sontheimer bet the river with 7 high with nothing.
Well, O'Dwyer really wants to call. He knows his hand looks like an 8 or a very weak ace, but he's going to lay it down.
O'Dwyer lets it go, and Sontheimer continues to pound this final table. Very nice play from Sontheimer. From a theory perspective, when you make it to the river, that's one of the worst hands he's going to make it to the river with. He chooses to go ahead and bluff with that combination. And then he was also thinking, based on Stephen O'Dwyer's range, O'Dwyer was likely to bet the turn if he had an ace, because there were 3 hearts out there on the board. So a lot of times he's going to bet his hand to protect, especially if he might have a stronger ace. So therefore, he really capped O'Dwyer's range on the river. Leong Chan with 19 big blinds, ace-10 offsuit under the gun. Not the most comfortable spot in the world, but I think we're going to see him raise him up.
So Leong Chan under the gun of ace-10 offsuit. It's playing about 19 big blinds. Gonna get Bodziakowski to fold. What would a Rui count in the big blind? King-7 offsuit. I think he just gave him the blinds and antes.
Yeah, a lot of times you'd see Rui defend that hand, but because they're so short stacked and because he knows that Chan is a tighter player, he goes ahead and lets it go.
And something to keep in mind is that Chan raised from under the gun too. So Peter Jen is the current short stack with 15 big blinds. The Canadian player. Chip leader is Stefan Sontheimer, 63 big blinds. He's got more than double second place. Nikita Bodziakowski chipping downwards, but still doing very well. 28 big blinds.
I picked Bodziakowski to win this tournament. I still like his spot, but it's terrible to have the big stack of Sontheimer on your left here. There we go, Bodziakowski. That's what you want.
Aces. It's been a little bit quiet lately.
$180.
180, where is
180,000. Pocket aces. Sontheimer's got pocket nines. Does he check call here? I mean, does he call in position? Does he re-raise all in? I doubt he's folding. Bodziakowski's playing about 30 big blinds. He's going to make the call. Good thing he didn't shove all in because he'd be in a bad spot. It wouldn't have surprised me if he shoved too because he's been putting a lot of pressure when there's like these short stacks that exist. But it's going to get to see a flop here. Try and flop a 9. Flop is Jack 8-3 flush draw. No improvement to Sontheimer. Bodziakowski on the flop. It's been continuation betting a lot of boards, so I would imagine he would want to bet this one out of position. But he actually checks, trying to feign weakness, trying to get his opponent to make some stabs at him. You know, if he's representing a hand like Ace Queen and Ace King high, you know, Sontheimer might bet a hand like King Queen on this flop. Now Sontheimer's reaching for chips.
I'm surprised that Mikita's putting this in his check range on the flop here.
Well, he did get pocket nines to bet 1.5 big blinds roughly. 1.7 big blinds.
Yeah, small bet by Sontheimer.
I think Bodziakowski is going to check call usually. So he does make the call.
Perhaps Bodziakowski thinking that Sontheimer has been so aggressive that Bodziakowski wants to rep some sort of a middle strength hand, and hopefully Sontheimer will try to barrel him off it.
Well, turns a 6. Sontheimer actually has pretty good showdown value of his hand. I think he might decide to check here. If he does fire a bet, probably wouldn't go too big. He could still have the best hand against hands like Ace 8, 8-9, 7-8.
Yeah, the problem is that there aren't that many 8s in Bodziakowski's range, so it really looks like Bodziakowski a lot of times might have a hand that beats Sontheimer's.
So he does make the check back. Now the river's a 7. Bodziakowski, I think he should look for some value now. I mean, he's checked some flush draws on the flop, so he can have a missed flush draw. People have seen the stream, so he must know. I'd like to see him fire about half the pot. Maybe a little bit more.
650.
650.
650, so he's going to go
Large bet.
75%. Sontheimer, pocket nines. Very tricky situation. Trying to figure out what kind of bluffs his opponent can have. A missed diamond draw seems like the most likely candidate. But some diamonds would bet the flop. So it's in a tough spot. It's in the shot clock. So I believe he's used a time extension. Sontheimer of pocket nines here, trying to create some bluffs.
Yeah, if I'm Sontheimer, I'm just having a hard time figuring out which combos Baziakowski's really bluffing with here. I think if Baziakowski had had a hand like Queen 10 suited that he raised from under the gun, he'd probably bet the flop.
Very likely. Maybe Sontheimer thinks that because he bet so small on the flop, he got some funny floats. Like, if he does make the call, he's going to see the bad news.
He makes the call.
So he's going to get shown pocket aces.
And the check call on the flop of Baziakowski works out. Sontheimer kicking himself about that one.
So he lost 980,000 chips. The time bank must have played into effect in this hand.
Was very interesting. Yeah, you were killing me by sitting and and not giving a tails that you're not raising.
Calling.
Yeah.
What happened? Raise call and what? Raise the flop call. Check call. Check.
No, he checks the flop. I bet small. He calls.
Kamita Baziakowski wins a big one.
Call, check.
That's my horse.
80%.
After winning that pot, stacks a whole lot closer between Baziakowski and Sontheimer. Baziakowski with only 7 big blinds fewer than Sontheimer. Down at the other end, Peter Jetton is our short stack. However, he's not too far behind Chan, Cow, O'Dwyer, and Ivan Leo. So it makes it really interesting. We have 2 large stacks. Everybody else kind of in the same ballpark in terms of chip stacks. So ICM a big consideration right now. These other 5 players all wanting the shorter stacks to bust before they do.
Always 7 on the river.
$170.
Rui Cow's going to shove all in here of pocket jacks. 1.8 million. It's going to chip up to 2.155. Currently 3rd place out of 7. He's only got 27 big blinds though. Over to Baziakowski with King Jack offsuit. Going to start for raise. Just minimum raise. Everyone's stacks have gotten a bit shorter. Jenton with pocket tens and a big blind should be an easy shove given his stack size, and he's the shortest stack. You want to push out hands like King Jack, who has 43% equity, to beat you. So he is going to shove all in. And Bodziakowski is a bit annoyed that he keeps getting shoved on right now.
Doing this to me.
Won't be able to make this call if King Jack offsuit. Be very suspicious. He's gonna lay it down. So Peter Jenton's gonna chip up a little bit.
Robin Hood, huh? Take from the rich, give to the poor. I don't like it. I don't like it. Need to protect my treasure a little better.
So actions on Rui Cal, Ace Queen offsuit. Makes it 160,000. Dwyer in the big blind with Ace 6 offsuit. Probably gonna try and see a flop of his 22 big blinds. Against Rui Cal, who's been opening wider than most players. Don't think Jenton's gonna play King 7 of diamonds. Dominated ace. Maybe Dwyer's thinking about laying this hand down? No, he's gonna see a flop. So both players flopping top pair. Not good for O'Dwyer. He's going to lose some chips here.
Yeah, disaster spot for O'Dwyer.
150,000 from Rui. I mean, he's been continuation betting every board, so you cannot think that you're behind of Ace-6, but you actually are.
Yeah, if I'm O'Dwyer here, I'm loving this spot. Unfortunately, as little does he know, Rui Cal has the better kicker.
Turn is a 3. That's also a bad card for O'Dwyer because he can convince himself that Rui Cal has like 2 diamonds in his hand. You know, like 7-8 of diamonds. Probably will bet again. So he probably isn't going to fold to a turn bet either. Quick bet from Rui, 350,000.
Yeah, if I'm O'Dwyer here, I'm thinking not only could Rui continue to barrel with diamonds, he could also possibly have a hand like pocket 5s, pocket deuces, maybe even 5-6 or 5-7 suited or 6-7 suited that he raised with preflop.
Queen, Jack, King, Queen, trying to move a player off of a 10. Seems reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd expect King, Jack, and King, Queen to check back the flop sometimes, but certainly Queen, Jack.
Well, he is going to call here of Ace-6. As expected. pot size bet roughly on the river.
4,005,000.
River card's a 3, another bad card for O'Dwyer. It's going to be tough for him to get away from the ace-6 here because now his 2-pair has gotten even better. He has 2-pair with a 10 kicker.
Rui Cow here. Does he want to put O'Dwyer all in, or does he want to bet like a smaller sizing trying to get crying calls? He makes a shove.
Wow.
I mean, if he was trying to bluff, he would have to go all in. He makes the call, and
O'Dwyer quickly makes the call.
O'Dwyer sees the bad news, and he's been eliminated in 7th place. Tough spot. He just quickly called. O'Dwyer is going to be the 7th place finisher for 2,312,000 Hong Kong dollars. Winning 290. What, does he have chips left? Yes, he's not eliminated yet. Okay, my mistake. He's got 50,000 left.
Very close to elimination. Dwyer not taking very much time on that river, calling very quickly. I do think it's a standard call there.
I mean, against a player like Rui Cow, that's probably the player you do want to make the call against. But Rui playing his image perfectly, getting maximum value of ace-queen there. He's got 1 big blind left.
Not even 1 big blind.
We had to round up. We don't have decimals in our graphics, so Dwyer has 1 small blind.
5/8 of a big blind for Steve O'Dwyer left, but he does have a chip and a chair.
Yeah, 1, 2, 2, I guess. But not much.
Well, if I'm any of the other short stack at the table, I'm folding almost all my range because people are going to put pressure on you when there's a guy that's going to be all in no matter what. He's got pocket jacks, though.
What a hand to pick up with half a big blind. I'm not sure. Rui now up to 4 million in chips. He's now 2nd place in chips at this table.
So he's going to make the raise. If O'Dwyer can win this hand, he's going to have a decent chance running up a stack again.
That's right, yeah.
So Bodziakowski most likely gonna come along.
Yeah, and you don't want to see that when you're Steve O'Dwyer. When you're Steve O'Dwyer here, you want to just see raise and everybody else fold.
It's only 1 big blind more to try to add some equity to eliminate O'Dwyer.
And it's notable that in spots like these, if Kamita had a hand that he might otherwise 3-bet, he's more incentivized to call, as you pointed out, in order to try to eliminate O'Dwyer and move up in the pay scale. Not a good door card for Steve O'Dwyer.
So Rui Cow picks up the best hand. So has to bet a little bit, and Dwyer has got 1 out remaining because Bodziakowski had the jack of clubs.
Wow.
Sick.
So sick.
Dwyer hadn't even looked. Disappointed to see the jacks getting outflopped by an ace, but it's actually one of the better cards you can turn over when the first card you turn over is a jack, but now he needs a jack going to the river. He doesn't get there. Stephen O'Dwyer is our 7th place finisher. He falls at the hands of Rui Cow.
He's going to cash for 2,312,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is 294,000 USD. You know, he got 2nd place in the 6 max event, so back-to-back cashes. Definitely a good result for him today.
Yeah, this has been a lucrative series for O'Dwyer. Now Rui Cow is the chip leader at the table, overtaking Sondheimer.
4.3 million chips.
Steve, today was a bit of a roller coaster for you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not very good stack to start the day, and then it got even shorter. And then I guess I was maybe even like third in chips at some point. And then I lost all my chips.
And here we are.
Happens sometimes at final tables.
Are we going to see you jump in the short deck?
No, I don't think so. I've never played the game before, so.
Some players were saying that if we started a smaller game, or maybe some kind of educational game, that they would jump in.
They were talking about maybe in Jeju doing like a smaller buy-in, like 100K Hong Kong or something, and I'm for sure I'd play that, like just to get my feet wet before trying something so high stakes.
I spoke to Dietrich, and he said that it was difficult for him to play with the Asian players at the table. It was very hard for him to read them. Was it the same for you?
No. It's because he's a doofus.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Back to you guys.
That got Tatiana to laugh.
Shots fired.
He might have been serious, though. That's the point.
Well, when we were tuning in the other day, it seems like there might be a little bit of bad blood between O'Dwyer and Dietrich Fast. They were talking about, how O'Dwyer had been needling him. Dietrich Fast offered to play O'Dwyer heads up. O'Dwyer declined.
So yeah, maybe he was serious. Well, anyways, Chan's got pocket kings. He's going to shove all in. Ivan Leo probably pot committed at this point. He's already made it 500,000 pre-flop. His opponent has shoved for less than 20 big blinds. You're not loving it, but you've got so much in there. Might have to call and hope your opponent has ace-king or ace-queen. He actually lays his hand down.
Wow.
Very nice fold.
Leo makes the fold. I mean, he was getting such a good price there. He only required about 30% equity to call, but he correctly reads Chan there and lays it down.
There is the prize pool. Champion will get 19.5 million Hong Kong dollars. Again, it's about 2.5 million USD. Steve O'Dwyer, the 7th place finisher. Ivan's the short stack with 1.1 million. Peter Jenton with 1.4 million. Rui Kao's the table chip leader, 54 big blinds. Stefan Sontheimer, first time he's lost the chip lead, but still doing very well. Makita and Wai Leon Chan in the middle.
Here's Komita on the button with ace-deuce offsuit, and he lets it go. That's a pretty tight fold there on the button. We've seen some stronger players make some tighter folds on the button at final tables when there's some ICM pressure. And Makita's not in a very good position because the two stacks on his left are the two big stacks at this final table, and that's probably part of the reason why we saw Komita fold an ace on his button there.
Well, he would have flopped a pair of aces. Check, check on the flop. Rui Kao turns a pair of eights. Check, check. Rui Kao trying to induce Sontheimer to maybe take a stab here. I think Queen High has enough showdown value. He checks. We'll love to see Rui Kao take a bet here, and he does. 125,000, half the pot. And he's going to fold the hand.
Okay. Queen high. Queen 7.
Rui Kao almost calls it perfectly there.
Queens, I didn't like this. 4-7. River did.
Popping.
Top pair.
No, not this
Eight,
big.
8 is top pair.
Eight, yeah.
So Jetton with ace king. It's got about 18 big blinds. Chan here in the big blind, Jack 6 suited, getting good odds. 80,000 to win 340 in the middle. About 4 to 1. In a 4 to 1 situation, 35% equity is definitely enough to see a flop.
Now you want me to win. Now you want me to win.
So flop is ace 8-3 rainbow. No reason to slow play. Start betting. Hope your opponent has an ace or an 8.
This is such a dry board. We see players tend to bet very small here. I'd expect Jetton to bet about 100,000, maybe even 90.
So if it's 105,000, you got it right on the point.
Peter Jetton has been around the game for a long time. Professional poker player. He's had success in many different poker tours, including the World Poker Tour, the World Series of Poker, and now, of course, the Triton Super High Roller Series.
So Rui Cal, table chip leader, he's going to open up his game on the button.
Yeah, Rui strikes me as the kind of guy who likes to be the chip leader at the table in tournaments.
He limps the button. So again, when I've been saying these 10 to 15 to 20 big blind stacks, when you see them, some people have been opting to do a limping strategy.
Yeah, that could be because his opponent Leo in the big blind with about 13.5 bigs. He doesn't want to get reshoved on. It also could be because he knows that Leo defends pretty wide. And look at that turn for Leo.
Yeah, quick check on the flop, and Rui's definitely going to call a turn bet. Ivan, does he want to bet now, or does he want to check and lay the trap? He can't lose the hand.
I think with 2 flush draws out there, Nano, I'm betting.
Well, he is going to bet 125,000. I don't think Rui Cal is going to fold here, so he does call. He's got an inside straight draw. Picks off a lot of bluffs. There was a 9.
Disaster card for Ivan.
So Ivan checks. Rui Cal might decide to turn his hand into a bluff. He's got a very weak pair. Shouldn't work, so he is going to take the stab.
Yeah, I like this bet here by Rui, and this is the reason why I like the check by Ivan. It's possible Rui could have checked back a flush draw on the flop. It's also possible he could have picked one up on the turn.
Does make the call, so Ivan's going to win with his straight. A lot of value. You know, nice check on the river. Usually your 6 is the best hand, but you think about what hands will call you on the river, and most people don't call one pair on 4 straight boards, so you get much more value by checking and inducing bets from hands that want to turn into a bluff.
This is exactly why Rui Cow limped the button, is because he wanted to have stacks deep enough that post-flop he could make some creative plays on the river, turns hands into bluffs, but it backfires on him, outplayed by Ivan. Here's Kamita Badziakowski. Folding over around Chan's button.
Chan's actually going to open this spot. He hasn't been taking too many of these loose opens, mainly because he's been a lot shorter, but now he's going to raise. Ivan's going to quickly fold.
Yeah, this is a very loose open, and I think we're only seeing this from Chan because the 2 stacks in the blinds are shorter than he is.
King 10 offsuit, we've got about 19 big blinds. A very reasonable all-in play, a very reasonable call.
From what we've seen from Jetton, I'm really expecting an all-in here.
He's just going to call.
I guess I'm wrong.
Don't worry, both options were good options.
Yeah, earlier we saw him shove that ace-6. Now he is quite a bit deeper, though.
So he does flop top pair. Chan flops middle pair. Chan might bet the flop. He might check. Seen players play this middle pair in various ways.
If I have 9-5 here, I'm checking. I'm going to a turn.
Can't fault Chan to think he's got the best hand. So we'll see what he decides. Does bet 200,000.
Earlier in a spot like this, we saw Peter Jetton just move all in. You think we'll see him call or shove here?
I think he's just going to call because it's a rainbow board. He might shove. He is a little bit deeper this time, so maybe he might not like it so much.
Yeah, I would call.
So
450.
he actually
Wow.
check raise slightly minimum, 450,000. So he does seem to fast play when he's got about 20 big blinds. Pretty often. Seems like a reasonable play. King 10 is definitely the best hand usually. You don't expect your opponent to actually check raise a pair on the flop. This might get Chan to see a turn card.
These are the kind of dicey spots you get into when you open 9-5 offsuit on the button and then c-bet middle pair on this board. Chan does call.
So he needs to hit a 9 or a 5 to improve, to take out Jetton.
And now if you're Jetton, are you confident with your hand? Do you think that Chan might be slow playing? What's going through your mind?
I am worried that I'm behind, but when I take the check raise line, I don't have many chips left relative to the pot, so I'm going to feel pot committed and just shove and just try to win this pot.
Especially if you turn a gut shot, right?
You got an inside straight draw. There's only 1 million behind, so he does shove. Chan's going to have to fold this pair, and you know, Jen actually picked up an additional 250,000 chips that a lot of people wouldn't get. And he doesn't let Chan see a free river card. So he won 40. He chipped up 44% there.
Peter Jetton is the lone Canadian who entered this poker tournament. He's now 4th place in chips at this final table. Rui Cow and Sondheimer neck and neck for the chip lead.
Wai Leong Chan now the current short stack of about 17 big blinds. Blinds probably going up soon too. Sontheimer here with ace queen offsuit. Gonna start with a raise.
Right. 170.
Rui Cal's got ace king suited. This is the second place versus the chip leader. Rui Cal is just gonna call ace king, going to try to induce action from some short stacks behind him.
It's 10k too much.
Some people might auto 3-bet ace king suited.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised to see Rui call here, especially with Rui's game. Also, I don't think you're really going to incite too many loose shoves behind you here in this spot when under the gun opens and under the gun 1 calls.
So he flops top pair, top kicker. Sontheimer is the pre-flop raiser. Does he want a continuation bet here? He is going to fire a little bit. 140,000.
It's a weird spot. I feel like I would check the ace queen here.
Quickly gets called by Rui Cal. Turns the king, so Rui Cal earns the check mark.
Rui Cal's hand looks a whole lot like pocket 9s, pocket 8s, pocket 10s, or perhaps king queen.
So Rui needs to decide, should he try and bet here, trying to get a hand like pocket 8s to call his bet. He bets pretty small, just a quarter of the pot, trying to get some ace highs to call, some middling pairs, like 7-8, pocket 8s, pocket 6s. All hands that are probably in Sontheimer's range, but he's going to lay down ace queen. So Rui Cal is going to extend his chip lead.
Unhappy. Unhappy about this hand.
I was looking for other turns. We can have fun on some turns. Oh no.
You do something if I 3-bet you flop?
Sometimes.
Very big hand.
I bet you
Shove, stack, shove, reflop, reshove. I'm not so happy, but
sometimes jam if you 3-bet. I sometimes put it all on.
if you jam, now I call. I'm scary behind. Don't think you have a jamming range.
Oh, if he jams?
Yeah.
No, it's just if you 3-bet and I jam.
It's a good hand to look at on the button for jetting.
Then you
Sometimes. You call, I lose.
And you lose everything.
Sometimes, happens sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Probably not this time.
I had you covered by 200k, so I don't care.
You can go crazy.
160.
About 2 million, 2.1 total.
Yeah.
And the race is 160.
So Sontheimer's got 6 deuce offsuit in the big blind. Does he want to defend this hand? It's pretty weak.
I think if we saw him enter this pot, he'd be 3-betting.
Nah, he's gonna fold.
Alright, tough. It's impressive.
I don't know why can't I play standard. I always do stupid things.
Yeah.
I can't play standard. I always tend to do stupid things.
Sick.
What? Did you hit one card?
Almost what? I tend to do stupid things. I can't play standard.
It's not full big blind ante anymore in the middle, you know. Tough.
You getting in there with 7-2 offsuit against me? You getting in there with the 7-2 offsuit?
Of course.
playing even one king. Already enough to defend the big blind.
Ace-5 suited for Peter Jetten. Just raised the last pot. Sitting on about 30 big blinds. The Million Hong Kong short deck event has started as well. That's going to be a big tournament. Should be streaming that tomorrow for day 2. Badziakowski of Ace-Jack. He's been very quiet with about 32 big blinds.
I think we'll see him flat here.
Calling and re-raising, both good options.
Call.
So he's just gonna call. Pocket kings for Rui Cao in the big blind.
It's not 20 stacks, right?
Yeah, 20 stacks.
20 stacks?
It looks bigger. Double check that one.
Oh, you can really see if there's 20 stacks from that far.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow, Rui Cao, pocket kings.
Just found some money.
That's some good eyesight. It's Rui Cao now. Pocket kings in the big blind. Uses a time bank chip actually for pre-flop. So he makes it 680,000. He's got an aggressive image. He is the chip leader of the tournament.
Pretty large size here. I could see either Jetten or Badziakowski shoving on this re-raise.
It looks very suspicious. He's got the perfect image. He's got the perfect stack that would make a re-raise play.
And Jetten has a perfect stack to shove all in, as well as a great hand to do it as well. If I were Jetten here, I may go all in with this hand.
Let's see what Peter Jetten thinks. I think he's going to take the passive line and fold.
And now Badziakowski in a very similar situation. He has a hand that blocks a lot of the value range that Rui is going to want to 3-bet here.
He did just flat call the early position raise, so his hand looks not as strong as perceived if he does make a play here. Ace-Jack. Tough situation. Seems like he's just going to sigh and let it go.
Wow, he does let it go.
It's counting the stack. We see the time button.
Rui Cao slightly annoyed that the stacks weren't lined up 20 stacks, so
If I knew the answer, I would have just told you, but I didn't want to tell you the wrong thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's like not 20 stacks in my head. King.
so Ivan Leo with King 10 of spades. Looking for 165,000. 160,000. Peter Jetten with Deuce of Hearts. He's been getting a lot of like these, playable hands that aren't premiums. He's gonna lay it down. Wai Leong Chan of ace-9 of diamonds and a big blind. He's got about 15 big blinds. He is facing Ivan's under the gun raise, so he might be leaning towards a call, which he does do. So it comes 7-7-5. Goes check, check. Ivan has the nut flush draw. Turns the nut flush. I'm the second nut flush. Chan's got ace high with a 9 of diamonds. He's got inside straight check. Actually goes check, check again. Ivan has the flush. Slow plays 2 straights. It actually comes out 3 7s on the board. Another 7, so his flush does not look good, so he's going to check it back. And Ivan's going to show him a flush. Yeah, everyone's a little bit confused because Ivan just kept checking it. So that's going to be the last hand before the break. We will be back in about 10 minutes.